market to explode to the upside. The election's been over for 6 days, and yet we don't have a result. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, November the 13th. And, of course, what a week, what a day, what a time to be alive. And as we said, the markets did explode, which we'll cover in our market report. But I think the big question of the day and of the week and maybe in history is the markets, the election has been over since Tuesday. Why is it Sunday and we don't have results yet? Okay. I thought that technology was supposed to help the counting and make things faster, but it seems to me it makes it more acceptable or more susceptible to cheating. Okay. If you go back to Friday night, suddenly in Nevada and Arizona, the Democrats picked up a lot of votes overnight. It's interesting when we watch the overall process, okay, and yet we don't seem to get better at it. We seem to have more confusion with what's going on, and of course, I am way against the way that we vote. I'm against the mail-in ballots unless they're going to be identified and with a serial number. I think that's a mistake. And interesting enough, I was talking to my son on Tuesday, and he said, I can't believe it. They didn't even ask me for any ID when I went to vote. And that should tell you that there's a problem. And again, the bigger question is, why after 6 days do we not have results? Okay, either they're dead heats and they have to be runoffs or whatever, but should not by today all the votes have already been counted. I mean, I can't believe they weren't counted by Wednesday. Okay, when I grew up, the votes, you knew the next day basically. Okay, something's fishy, and of course that is not unusual. Okay, because of course when you're talking about money and power, things get more interesting. And it's, you want to talk about one of the most interesting things of the week. The Vatican's chief auditor was forced out because he was digging too deep into their finances. Okay. Now think about that for a minute. Okay. The Vatican, which obviously is probably the most profitable corporation in the world, okay, with all the obvious donations, and yet their auditor doing his job got forced out, okay, and was actually raided, okay. I think it's kind of interesting, but it ties into where we're headed, which I don't think, especially here, we're headed in the right direction, okay. I think we're headed in a very bad direction, and I think it starts with the man on top, okay, who first accused oil companies of gouging for too much price, okay, which again, A, the free market system is at work, and B, we do not get our supplies from ourselves. We get our supplies from Saudi Arabia, okay, so who's doing the gouging, okay? If we wouldn't have given up, if President Biden wouldn't have been the same imbecile that President Obama was in what he did with the coal industry in 2008 by just shutting it down in one day. Again, it's one thing if you have a plan and you want to get rid of it. I have no problem with that, but give me a plan, give me a way you're going to do it, and then gradually take them out. Because now, not only is Biden accused the oil companies of gouging, now the EU is accusing the U.S. natural gas companies of price gouging. And yet they're buying most of their natural gas from Russia. So who's doing the gouging? Okay. Do we not live in a, hopefully still, a free market capitalistic system? Okay, because if we don't have capitalism, I don't want to live here. Okay, again, I'm not interested. I pay enough taxes, and I pay enough other things that I'm entitled to have an opportunity to earn more money. And if I'm good at what I do, whatever my business happens to be, I should be able to get the biggest benefit. Okay, and then of course it then takes us right into the impact on the total failure of the sanctions on Russia. Again, this is now finally coming out into the news cycle that the sanctions were a failure, which of course we said here months ago that the sanctions would not work. Because when you're going to put sanctions on somebody or on a country, for example, you have to have a financial end, and it has to hurt them financially, which of course what we did had no financial issue, and in fact made Russia prosper instead of fail. Okay. Now, this may be the chuckle of the week. Okay. Biden says his economic plan is showing results and vows to fight inflation. We're on the right track. Now, I don't know anybody who thinks we're on the right track, okay, whether they be Democrat or Republican or Libertarian, okay. I think the reasoning and the reason that this election was so close was because of the overturn of, our Roe versus Wade, okay. I think that was the big effect on this election, and plus the fact that, as much as I have respect and thought President Trump was a great president, as much as he couldn't keep his mouth shut, during the election cycle. And of course, you can see that many of his hand-picked people failed miserably. Okay, because again, this is, when you can't keep your mouth shut, you get problems. Okay, but I think that you had some major issues come out this week, and you've got now Yellen, okay, Janet Yellen, the moron of the Federal Reserve, who urges Congress to raise the debt ceiling or the debt limit beyond the 2024 election. Now, when is the government going to be responsible and have to live on a budget like we do? Okay, this is my problem. When do we get to a point when they actually have to have a normal budget, like normal people, and run it like a normal business? Unfortunately, they have in their minds never-ending funds from the taxpayer. Okay, remember, the Federal Reserve, the government create nothing but debt. They create nothing but debt. Okay, so why would I want to raise the debt ceiling once again? Okay, when isn't it time for government to have to tighten their purse strings as well? The average American is starving right now, and the outflow of capital versus the inflow is killing them. Okay, let alone the massive inflation, and taxes are going higher. It was interesting. I heard President Biden speak, and he's keeping his promise that taxes are not going to be hiked among those that make less than $400,000. Well, of course, that's total bullshit, because the first part was the FICA tax, which if you make over 160, your tax goes up. So again, we have so many lies and so much false information that continues to come out. And I guess maybe he believes it. I don't know. He's a liar anyways. Okay. But between the massive amount of layoffs that are going everywhere, okay, we're seeing layoffs everywhere. We're losing jobs. The full-time employment is dramatically lower. Okay, the jobs you see are part-time. People are having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to try to equate the one job they had before. And of course, we have a massive amount of debt that we're accumulating. Okay, credit card debt is at all-time record highs. The usury rates that these people are going to be paying, they're never going to get out of debt. Okay, and of course, thanks to the lobbyists, credit card debt is non-dischargeable through bankruptcy. Okay, The banks are extremely over leveraged as always. And of course, in my opinion, they couldn't pass a normal stress test. In my opinion, of course, we're going to see the same ending as we saw prior, is that we, the taxpayer, are going to get the privilege and the honor to bail out the crooked banks. Okay? Now, again, what kind of business can you go into that you can lend, make a fortune, go out of business, and get bailed out by the Federal Reserve? Okay? It makes no sense to me. To me, it's an American tragedy that we're watching in play. Okay, between not having the election results, between the banks over leveraging, between the massive amount of debt, and of course, then we get to the oversupply of housing inventory. Okay, we get to the fact that houses are no longer selling because mortgages are now 6.5%, 7%, 7.5%, 8%, and that's if you have good credit. Okay, so we have these issues, and the biggest bombshell of the week, of course, was poor Tom Brady and Steph Curry. He got hurt in FTX. Of course, we saw the owners or the bosses of the crypto exchange get caught up in over leveraging. Okay, and of course had to file bankruptcy, destroying billions of dollars, which is not a surprise. We've seen this movie before, and don't think you haven't seen it before, because you can simply go back to EDF and Man. Okay, you can go back to the Corzine. You can go back to PFG's Best, and you saw the same thing happen in the equity markets as well. So it is not left alone to the crypto world only. In fact, I think the cryptos are probably at this point, if you like this space and are willing to take some risk, are probably a great play here. Look, this is a one-off, not a one-off, it happens, okay? And we've seen these things happen before in all markets. The difference is that the crypto markets are still way in their infancy, and the massive hit on the industry created panic everywhere. And of course, there's some abnormalities now going on with some of the digital wallets. But overall, I think you're going to find that there's going to be a real need and a demand for the crypto world, because I think at the end of the day, what you have is you have those looking for a currency that can no longer be manipulated, as is the fraudulent currency market, the fiat currency market in which we are experiencing now, which gives central bankers too much power to devalue our currency, which only leads to taxation without representation and inflation. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, November the 13th. We're going to stop out here for a break. We'll be right back with our market commentary after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday. What's up, all? I hope you had a good week. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And of course, as you know, we have a couple of sponsors, which we like to always talk about here, because they're not only sponsors, but we are customers of theirs, because they do such a great job in their stuff. And of course, we have many brokers, but the two we prefer for options and future, options and equities, there is nothing like trade your brokerage. Okay, they're $10 a month. Think about that, $10 a month. How much money would you save at $10 a month? Okay, they have the ability to auto trade our equity portfolios, which at no cost, because you remember, our hedging portfolios, you have to pay us a licensing fee. But again, you're starting at $10 a month, okay, and you can get auto trading available. Plus the fact that they'll have crypto soon, and plus they are sponsoring our Vegas event, which is coming up. Okay, and you can get the opportunity to have the best education you had in 3 days that you'll ever get. And if you have an account with Trader or open one, you get the early bird pricing, which is $997 to come in person, or $500 to get the live streaming. It's try.trader.com/Bubba. That's try.trader.com/Bubba. And of course, if we go into the futures and commodities world, there is nothing like Capital Trading Group, CTG. We're partners with them on our Day Trader's Dream. But again, they have the best customer service. They handle all of my money. They have a lot of great products, and they're just great people. And when you call them, they answer the phone. Okay, and that's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And of course, our high school program, which I'm having trouble getting into high schools because, of course, they don't want to teach it because nobody wants financial literacy. They want to continue to raise a generation of morons. But if you want to help me and try to get this thing going, just go on the bottom line. You'll see patreon.com/Bubba. That's Bubba Trading. Patreon.com/Bubba Trading. And again, the links for Capital Trading Group and Trader are scrolling on the side, and on the bottom is the high school. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, our market commentary right now. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, November the 13th, and, of course, markets had a boondoggle. They were flying like crazy after a very soft start to the week. It looked like, I don't know if their markets were pricing in a red wave or whatever the heck they were reacting to, if it was a short squeeze, but the markets exploded higher. Okay. On Thursday alone, I think the NASDAQ was up over 7%. Okay. And of course, we were long the Dow, the S&P, and the Russell coming in. And of course, tonight or tomorrow, depending on when you do it, we're going to reverse the NASDAQ to the long side. But it was a big monster up rally. Why? Again, listen, in my opinion, it was a short covering rally. In my opinion, we're still going down that 50 to 70% that I've talked about. And in my opinion, we have very little liquidity and very thin markets, which creates some of these bigger artificial moves. But either way, I am long. Again, as you know, full disclosure, I give you my positions every day. So, but overall, I think there's going to be a major crash, a major meltdown, as we've seen many times in the past. But right now, again, they're going higher. And am I going to fight them? No, I'm not going to fight them. Okay. But so again, you're going to if you're in, you're going to reverse the NASDAQ either tonight or tomorrow to long. And we're obviously still long the other indices. And the dollar got clobbered last week. Okay. Hey, look, it went straight up. You don't think it's going to have some movement down? Remember, I said this in the front. The fiat currency market is the most criminal, fraudulent market that there is. Okay, from forex to everywhere they trade. You have central banking trying to get them to zero, looking for a digital currency. In the meantime, we're short dollars, and the euro currency, of course, exploded higher, all the way back to 103 and change. Okay, listen, or at the end of the day, okay, I think it's going to 88 cents, if not lower. Okay, but we are long. So again, it doesn't. My position and my opinion don't have to agree. Bitcoin, of course, got clobbered with all the talk of what happened with FTX and whatever. But I think this is probably an opportunity. Now we're short Bitcoin in our portfolios. I still own Bitcoin, and will continue to buy. Again, but remember, if you're going to trade in the Bitcoin world or the crypto world, remember that you have to be willing to lose it all to make that trade. Okay, and we're short bonds and notes. A little bit of a marginal up week. They were on Thursday. The bonds were up almost 5 full points, which is unheard of. Okay, and yet it was still only a marginal up week. We are still short bonds and notes, and again, we'll see what happens. I think we saw something interesting in the precious metals though. Gold exploded higher finally. Okay, and again, we thought 1600 was a key area, and it was, and it popped. Silver has looked better all along with platinum. We're long gold, we're long silver. Platinum we don't trade, but certainly would be long. And again, if you're buying them as an investment, you would buy the physicals, and any price is fine because, again, you're going to hold them. We are long across the board. Copper continues to pop higher, and we're long. Again, I don't see this being a long-term rally. Again, I don't see the value, but I'm not going to tell you that it can't go higher. I mean, again, I'm long. So what can I tell you? In the grain markets, we're kind of in this churning range, which again seems somewhat illogical because we have a shortage of food. Input costs to produce are going higher, yet prices keep dropping. But we're kind of in wide ranges. We are short corn, we are long beans, and we are short wheat right now. I'd like to be long them all, to be quite frank, but again, they are what they are. In the protein complex, the very same thing. It's very much in an uptrend. We're long them all, but very much kind of floating, just gently up or down. I don't think there's a lot of room. I don't think they're going down. I don't think they're going dramatically higher. I think they're at the peak of where they can probably go to the upside, but I don't think there's much room to the downside at this particular time. Now, that could certainly change. It really will depend on the inflationary cycle, which, again, we had CPI last week at 7.7, which to me is bullshit anyways, but whatever. And in the softs, cocoa was higher, sugar was higher, OJ was lower finally, but again, it's up so big. And cotton was higher, and of course, we're long those four. And coffee was lower, and we're still short. So, markets themselves are shaping up. Now, I do think there's a big commodity market, a big commodity boom coming, and a big equity collapse coming. But again, I can only trade the price action that I have today. So we'll see what happens next week. And remember, we're now coming into one more full week and then Thanksgiving week. So it's going to be interesting. But without liquidity and without volume in this market, it makes it a lot more challenging. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, November the 13th. We're going to step out here for our final break and be back with my commentary and, of course, my football picks. Well, kids, again, you know about our sponsors. I'm not going to go through the whole routine of telling you about them, but again, just look on the sides. Capital Trading Group for futures and commodities. Trader Brokerage for auto trading your equity portfolios. You can license out to have your hedging traded. And of course, they're sponsoring our Vegas event. And down on the bottom is our high school program, which we're trying desperately to get back into the high schools we were in. As we've revamped, but of course, those lazy asses don't want to teach it. But that's down at the bottom, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and of course, my commentary and football. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, November the 13th. And, again, a lot of things happen. And, I'm so sick of our political system. Again, whether Republican or Democrat, they're all, in my mind, they're all stealing from us. Okay, they have an easy out, which is more taxes. They spend so much money on trying to get reelected. So when they're getting reelected, what are they doing for me? What are they doing for you? Okay, I'm so sick of this election cycle that it has to change. But the only way it can change is by Americans stepping up to the plate and telling them that they want change. And that is also by finding who to vote for, whichever side you're on. Okay, again, this is bipartisan. Okay, the system is broken. Okay, and unfortunately, in a broken system, we, the middle class, get to pay for their failure to do their jobs. Okay. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of them not doing their jobs. And I'm more sick and tired of not knowing the results of an election that happened Tuesday and it's now Sunday. I'm sick and tired of having President Biden tell us what a great job he's doing when he's been one of the worst presidents in history. Okay. But more importantly, you know how you fix the system? You got to fix the foundation first. And that's by getting rid of the crap and actually getting in term limits and getting rid of these lifetime politicians, okay, whichever side of the aisle, because they all suck. In the meantime, it is football time in America, okay, and if you like my picks, well, we like this weekend. We like the Buffalo Bills because of the uncertainty. Now we know that Josh Allen's not going to play, but the game's down to 3. Okay, so we like Buffalo minus the 3. We like Denver plus the 3. And believe it or not, I can't even believe I'm saying this, I like the Bears minus the 2.5. And until next week, or until tomorrow for Bubba's Daily Update, but for those who only watch Bubba's Online, until next week, have a great weekend. As always, I thank you. And hopefully by next week, we'll know who actually won the elections. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you later. Bubba's Bottom Line.